Altman Lighting presents Genesis.
The intensity of a fixture is controlled by the yellow fader. It doesn't matter whether it's a dimmer channel, or an RGB par can, or a moving light. The yellow fader always controls the intensity. To control any other parameter, we use our app screen. So start by pushing up the fader of the lights you wish to control, and then you can either press the apps button or tap inside this yellow rectangle, the yellow rectangle relating to the yellow line on the fixture faders. And here we have 4 types of apps: intensity apps, color apps, position apps, and beam and other. We're going to select the color app, and as soon as we go in there, we have control of our color of our fixtures. So I'm going to select my fixtures, and then I can move my finger around on here to select the color. And you saw we selected fixtures using the buttons. You can also select fixtures by moving the faders. As I push the fader up, it automatically selects that fixture, so I've got control of it, and when I bring it down, it deselects it. Again, I can select my color, bring it down, bring up my next pair, select another color, bring them down, bring up my next pair, select another color. And when I bring all the fixtures up, it's remembered those colors. The mantra is even cleverer than that, because I can select the first 2, bring up the next 2, and it automatically deselects the first 2 because it knows I've already set the color for them. Bring up the next ones, and I can adjust those to whatever color I want, and bring up my final pair and do something with those as well. You can also then reselect all those fixtures just by pressing the first button and holding and tapping the last one. And I can select them back to the same color. We also have a fine control, which gives you much finer control of where the dot is moving. You can see the small dot moving here as I'm moving my finger across the screen. I get a much finer control. If I turn it back on, it's real time. With fine off, it's a real-time tracking of colors. We also have color fans, and the first fan is a directional fan, where the lights now start on one color and go through to a different color in a rainbow. Or I can select a symmetrical fan, where the color starts in the middle and works its way out. If you move your finger across the top of the screen, you'll notice we're getting saturated colors. If I move my finger along the bottom of the screen, we get more pastel colors. So you have a choice of whichever way you want to work with your colors. And then a third press turns off my fans. We also have color sliders, and that allows us to get direct access to the RGB faders again, as well as other colors like amber to give a warmer color, white to soften the colors off, or in this particular fixture's case, it also has a UV function, so I can get an ultraviolet light from it. And then I can scroll up and down to see if there's other faders available. The functions that appear in this will depend on the fixture you're using. Some fixtures will have amber and white or UV, others might have other colors, and some might not have any colors at all or might have a color wheel. It will change for every fixture. When we're finished, we press the mantra button to go back to the color screen, or again to go back to my app screen. Next up, we have position. So I'm going to bring up my moving lights, which have position, and select my position app. Now I can use my touchpad here to move my lights around the screen. As you can see, they're all a bit of a mess at the moment. So the first button I'll press is my center button to get them all back to a known starting position. I can then tilt them down, tilt them up, or pan them left and right as I move around the room. So you can see my lights are quite big and fat, and it's a bit hard to see what they're doing. So I'm actually going to exit this screen and go into my beam other screen and select my zoom function and zoom them down to a smaller spot, which will make the rest of my pan and tilt demonstration easier to see. Not all lights have that function, but if they do, we'd suggest zooming them to a smaller spot. It makes it easier when you're focusing your pan and tilt. So now you can see I can move them up and about and left and right. Again, we have a fine button, so when I turn on fine control, I get a much narrower movement for my large movements of my fingers. Rather than moving all the way across the screen, I get finer control. We have fans, so we have things like a centered fan, so all my lights can come into the spot and cross over or spread out. We have a directional fan where one end stands still and all the other lights move away from it or cross over towards it. We have a V-shaped fan, if I center my lights, where the center lights move down and the outside lights stay the same. If you have more lights, you'll get a more pronounced V shape from it. And press it again and our function for fan is off. We also have an ortho control, which allows us to lock, pan and tilt. So at the moment, as I move my finger, the lights move horizontally and vertically. If I go to pan only, they will only move horizontally. No matter what I do with my finger up and down, there's no vertical movement. I can then do the same, so I only have tilt, so there's vertical movement but no horizontal movement. Or I can turn it back to both, where I can control the lights and they move any direction at all. When we finish working there, we can press the mantra button to go back. The Beam Other button gives us access to any parameters that do not appear under the Color tab app or under the Pan and Tilt Position app. So this might be things like our strobe function, our zoom, control and reset, and any other functions. If there's more than 4 faders, previous and next buttons will appear here at the bottom of the screen to allow you to switch between the pages. You also have an option to set these to fade or snap. This is a more advanced function. You can read up how to use that in the user manual. When you're finished, press the mantra button to go back to your home screen. The final function you need to know inside our app screen is clear and clear all. At the moment you'll see that I've got these lights on with a colour and a position in them. If I want to take them back to their home recorded values, I can press the clear button and have options just to clear the colour or the position or beam other, as well as any other animations and such and shapes that may appear. Or I can simply press the clear all button and the lights go back to open white with all their default home values and positions.